Welcome class to our session. So for today we have to discuss perpetuity and then amortization schedule and the uniform arithmetic gradient. So learning objectives at the end of the session, you will be able to, number one, of course, you must have to learn how to solve problems involving annuity at any focal point as reference basing from the constructed cash flow diagram. Okay, so we have been used to this, ano? Then secondly, here we are going to construct amortization schedule based from the computed annual payments. And then number three, apply the formula for uniform arithmetic gradient in solving problems. So first we have here perpetuity. Yung perpetuity is a type of annuity rin siya, but this payment occurs continually and indefinite. Okay, so the practical example of this one is for a continuous operations of a certain business, or limbawa maintenance, tuloy-tuloy ang maintenance, tuloy-tuloy ang operations, and we can also apply this perpetuity yung mga premiums like GSIS, SSS, yung mga retirement, okay, retirement benefits. Of course, the payment shall continue indefinitely, okay, since you do not know kung kailan mag-i-end. Of course, normally yung end ng term ng benefit retirement is upon the death of the beneficiary. Okay, so that is the practical example of perpetuity. So that if we're going to place that into our formula, we set our n, or the number of period, to be infinite, and just to place that in a cash flow diagram, we have here an infinite period. So basically, hindi mo makukuha ang future worth niyan. Okay? You cannot, we are not after the future worth, but we are more concerned on what to invest out of this provision. So we are more concerned on the present worth rather than the future worth, because our n here is indefinite. So how shall we treat this one? So it is simply coming from the formula of the present worth of the annuity, and we have this the formula, and then all we need is to, of course, this one shall be multiplied by the corresponding annuity, because we will be considering series of payments until indefinite period. So this is the formula, and then all we need is to set this one into negative infinity. So if we are going to set this one, no, parang magiging 1 over 1 plus I raised to infinite yan. So definitely ito magiging larger value. So 1 over a larger value would mean this would almost be equal to 0, or probably it is 0. So napakalaking divisor sa isang unit. Parang yung candy, i-divide mo ng 1,000,000, wala nang matitira dun. So that is the case. So that is almost equal to 0. So we set that one equal to 0. So what is left in the formula is this one. The present worth is equal to A over I. So let us try this problem. What amount of money invested today at 15% interest can provide the following scholarships? We have 30,000 pesos at the end of each year for 6 years, and then 40,000 for the next 6 years, and then 50,000 pesos thereafter. So we just place that into the cash flow diagram. Say we have here the timeline, so that on the first 6 years, you're expecting 30,000, ano? So, nag-expect kang 30,000 to be withdrawn from first year up to the 6th year. And then, susunod na 6 years, you will be expecting 40,000 or 10,000 higher for the next 6 years. So, that would yield to 12 year, no? And then after which, tuloy-tuloy na, from year 12, you will continue to receive, but this time this is 50,000 from the end of the 12th year up to indefinite time. So that is the case. And the question is, magkano ang dapat mong invest today? So basically, we are going to compute all of the present worth of these cash flows at focal time of 0. Kasi nandito yung present value na dapat mong invest at the present time. Okay, so we're gonna use this as our focal point. Say, itong linyang yan. And of course, we need to also consider the 6th year for the equal payments for the next 6 years, yung 40,000. No? Kailangan, hindi pwedeng diretso yan dito. So, kailangan mag-terminate siya dito. Patras lang tayo ng isa dito. Okay? For the 40,000. And for the 50,000, patras din tayo ng isa. Get the present worth and then bring that further to the present time or the focal point. Say this is the terminal time for 50,000, the terminal time for 40,000, so that we can further bring that to the present. Okay, so let us start with the 50,000 being computed back to 12 year. Say we have 50,000 all over I. Okay, because the present worth of your perpetuity, no? Yung present worth ng perpetuity is A all over I. So, the annuity divided by I lang. So, ilan ba yung I natin? So, I is set to be 15% according to our problem. Okay? So, from this, no, we need to further bring this to the present. So, itong 50,000, punta natin dun sa present. Say, this is the notation. Of course, the present worth would be just copied. No? We have 50,000 all over I. So, the notation is 1 plus I raised to negative 12. Ito actually is finding P given F at I% at N. Diba? So, simple compound interest lang yan. So, 1 plus I raised to negative 12. So, we do the same to the 40,000 annual payments. See, ito yun. We have 40,000 times finding P given A 15%, 6. And then again, ito will be brought to the present. See, ito na yun. We just copy this notation. Okay, and then again, this is a compound interest from the future. So we just have to multiply it by 1 plus I raised to negative 6. Okay, so finally, for 30,000, we have 30,000 and we have that notation. Okay, so the next thing is just ito na. Pag-addin mo lang to, this one, plus this, as well as that term. So, yung una, 50,000 all over 0.15 times 1.15 raised to negative 12 plus yung pangalawa, 40,000 plus this term and that. So, product yan, no? So, we have that term 1 minus 1.15 raised to negative 6 all over 0.15 multiplied by 1.15 raised to negative 6. Okay. Finally, yung third term, we have 30,000, ano? Then, we have also that term. Okay, so, computing now the values. So, these similar terms will yield to 3.78. Okay. So, we will yield to 241,282.32. So, that's about perpetuity. So, basically, ang naidagdag lang dito on our annuity lesson is that kapag we have an indefinite time of payment, okay, so we'll just denote that as n is equal to infinity, and then our concern is the present worth, okay, which is equal to the annuity all over the rate of interest. Okay, so moving on to the next. This time we have the amortization. So amortization is any method of repaying a debt, the principal and interest included, usually by a series of equal payments at equal interval of time. So when we talk of equal payments, so it refers to annuity kasi these are uniform payments at the same time equal interval of time. So ang may dadagdag dito in our lesson for today is how to construct an amortization schedule. So, amortization schedule are usually issued sa mga nangungutang so that they will know how what is the status, what will be the status of their debt if they are regularly paying their amortization. Okay? Kaya ang schedule, makikita mo kung ilang buwan, magkano ang uniform, at magkano na ang natirang utang. Okay, so for the first problem, a debt of 5,000 pesos with interest at 12% compounded semi-annually is to be amortized by equal semi-annual payments over the next 3 years. The first due in 6 months. So this is important, ano? So find the semi-annual payment and construct an amortization schedule. So if we're going to draw our cash flow, so basically meron siyang 5,000 pesos na debt, and then it will be amortized by equal annual payments over the next 3 years. So when we say semi-annual, twice siyang mag-occur in a year. So therefore, it's nice to recognize your end first before you draw. Of course, we have 3 years time, tapos twice a month siya. All in all, we have 6 semi-annual periods. And at the same time, let us transform this 12% compounded semi-annually into the rate of interest. That is I is equal to 12% divided by 2 since it occurs twice a year. So, meron tayong 6% dyan. Okay? So, all in all, we have 6 periods, and take note, the interval of these 6 periods are 6 months. Okay? Okay, so bali 6 months yan at equal a period. So basically, ang gagawin lang dito is to apply the formula, bring this to the present, and equate it to 5,000. So the present worth is equal to 8 times 1 minus 1.06 raised to negative 6 all over 0.06. Hence, we just replace that by 5,000. So ito, 4.92. So 5,000 divided by 4.92. That will yield to 1,016.81 pesos. So this will be the value of the equal payment starting, okay, starting sa 6 months. So kapag 6 months, of course, the interval of this one is 6 months. Kaya sa first period pa lang, nagsimula na yung annuity. So here we are now ready to draw our amortization schedule. So I'm gonna switch to the Excel, no? Then the outstanding principal at beginning of period, tapos interest due at end of period, then here the payment, then the principal repaid at the end of period. So these are important matrix or part of the matrix on the amortization schedule. So here we will be having 6 periods, diba? 2, 3. Okay. And then so sa period 1, of course, magsisimula yan sa kabuuan utang. So that is 5,000 pesos, no? Okay. From this kabuang utang, so the rate of interest is actually 15%. Or let me correct that. We have 12% compounded semi-annually. So 12 over 2, that is 6%, ano? 0.06 multiplied by this. Okay. So meron tayong 300 na interest at the first period. So ngayon we have already computed yung equal payments, ano? 1,016.81. Okay. Ngayon, principal repaid. Of course, magkano yung nabayaran? Nabayaran mo na sa principal, which subtracts this one, interest due. Kasi ang principal lang babayaran mo plus interest. So basically, yung payment equals yung payment minus yung interest due. Of course, ito yung principal na nabayaran mo. Okay? So that is 716.81. So that on the second year, okay, itong principal mo, outstanding, mababawasan na ng nabayaran mo. Okay, at the first period. And that would yield to 4,283.18. So ngayon, pababa ng pababa yung interest. Okay, so copy lang natin yan. Okay, we have 256.99. At ito, parehas lang yung payment mo. At ito, just the same. It is the difference, okay, between the payment and the interest due. Kung mapapansin nyo, tumaas na siya kasi this time, bumaba na yung interest due at the second period, ano? Okay? So, next. So, ito, parehas lang. We'll just copy the formula, no? Na yung outstanding principal, Okay? At the second year, minus yung nabayaran mo, yun na yung outstanding principal at the third year. So, just the same, parehas lang yung interest na may apply, that is 6%, ano? And then, the payment is the same also. Okay? And then, the principal repaid is the difference din ng payment mo versus the interest due at that period. Kung mapapansin nyo, again, tumaas na naman yung nabayaran mo kasi nga bumababa ito. Pababa ito, pataas naman yun. Okay? So, actually, you can complete the cycle up to the 6th or totals. Okay? Okay, so moving on to the next example of this amortization schedule, we have a debt of 10,000 pesos with interest at 20% compounded semi-annually is to be amortized by 5 equal payments. At the end of each 6 months, okay, the first payment is to be made after 3 years. So find the semi-annual payment and construct an amortization schedule. So this time, we have a period of how much? So that is to be computed, ano? Okay, so let us construct the amortization schedule or cash flow diagram first. So meron tayong utang na 10,000 pesos. So here we determine our period, no? So to determine that, of course, sabi dito, 5 equal payments at the end of 6 months. The first payment is to be made after 3 years. So, ang term ng pagbayad is every 6 months. So, sa first 3 years pa lang, ilang months, ilang period na yon. So, 3 years times twice a year, tapos, i-add mo yung 5 payments, ano? But here, take note, the first payment is to be made after 3 years. Okay? So, kung kakalkulahin mo to, ito, 6 yan. Okay? So, sa 6, meron ng payment. So, ibig sabihin, may payment na dyan sa last period ng 3 years. Okay? Lahat ng payment dapat 5 lang. So, therefore, this should be equal to 4. Okay? Kasi may isa na dyan. 5 lahat ng payment. So, plus 4. We have 10 periods. So, anong periods to? So, yan is semi-annual because each 6 months. Okay? So, if we are going to illustrate that now, we have 10 periods. Sa 6th, meron na siyang payment hanggang 10 periods. So, kung mapapansin mo, 5 equal payments yan. Okay? So, by the way, this cash flow is on the perspective of the lender, no? Kasi sa lender, siya yung unang nagpalabas ng 10,000. Then, after the 6th period, siya naman yung babayaran up to 5 equal payments consecutive with uniform interval of 6 months, ano? So ngayon, you will just have to get this as a focal point, the fifth, kasi atras lang tayo, isa, so that we can resolve all of these annuities on that period, remaining present or 10, and then further will be brought to the present so that this will be equated to 10,000 pesos. So what will be the notation here? We have finding P given A at I% at 5. And then further, ito, punta mo dito, just copy this, and then multiply it by 1 plus I raised to negative 5. So therefore, we just equate that to 10,000. We have A times 1 minus 1 plus I. So ito, I muna natin is 20, no? I is equal to 20%, semi-annual yan, divided by 2. So ito, 10%. So this one is 1.1 raised to negative 5 all over 0.1. Then this is 1.1 raised to negative 5. So therefore, we have 4,248.5. So this is the required annuity that will start at the 6th period of the 10 semi-annual interval. Okay, so this time we are going to have now our amortization schedule. So here we're going to utilize the same matrix for the amortization schedule. So we have 10 periods to 10 to, no? Okay, so we have 10 periods. Remember that the interval is uh, every 6 months, no, in a year. So there are 10 periods. So we will start with the outstanding principal muna. So sa outstanding principal, meron tayong 10,000 na utang. And remember, ito 10%, di ba? Times 10%. So initially wala pa siyang payment, ano? So magtutuloy-tuloy yan. So ito, outstanding principal, madadagdagan na interest. So if you notice, wala pa siyang bayad. So this time, nag-increase na naman yung interest due up to the point na magbabayad siya, it will begin to decrease. But this time, mag-increase nga kasi wala pang bayad. So from the outstanding principal, mag-increase siya ng 10% per period, no? 0.1. Okay. So this yan, up to the 5th period, no? Up to the 5th period tayo. Okay. So the 6th period, pwede pa rin nating pag-add niya. Okay. And this is the interest. Now, ito na yung magkakaroon ng amortization. So the computed amortization is 4,248.5. 4,248.5. Yan, hanggang sa 10 yan. So perhaps you can just copy yan hanggang dito sa 10, no? So, ganon. Just similar to the first problem. Yung payment, bawasan mo lang nung interest due dito. Okay. So, yan. The outstanding principal now is this one minus this, no, 13,467.11. Ngayon, may interest na rin siyang 10%. At that period, tingnan mo kung kailan may bayad dito, saka pababa na rin yung interest due. Okay? Sa simula, na walang bayad, pataas yung interest due kasi nga walang bayad. Hindi na babawasan yung outstanding principal, but this time, babawasan na yung outstanding principal at the same time yung interest niya. So, it is now declining when the payment will start to begin. Okay? So, ngayon, yung payment, ito rin, itong payment minus interest due at the end of the period, yun na yung principal repaid at the end of the period. So, itong nabayaran na to, babawas mo ulit dito, 13,000 minus, yan, 10,565. Okay. Again, may 10% interest yan, no? Okay. So, 10,565 times 0.1, that is that. So, just the same. The principal paid is this one minus that one. Okay. Yan. 3,191. And then, ito na, yung outstanding, minus yun. Okay. And then again, meron siyang 10% interest at that period, at the 9th period. And just the same ito, minus yun. Okay. Ito yung principal repaid at the end of the period. And finally, at the 10th year, ito na yung outstanding principal or outstanding balance minus mo dun sa nabayaran. Okay? And computein mo rin yung interest at that period. So, yan. This is the amortization schedule. Now, if you're going to total lahat ng nabayaran, ito na. 16,105. So, ito, may transition kasi dito, class, unlike yung kanina. Sa simulang period pa lang, nagbayad na. Dito, may space or the payment started right after the 5th period. Kaya, may transition, meaning from increasing to declining. Ito, no? So, ang transition point is actually the highest point dito, 16,105. So, ito yung pinakamataas na principal, di ba? So, yung pinakamataas na principal dapat mabayaran yun. Okay? So, nabayaran, 16,105.90. Again, sumobra to because of rounding off. Kasi ito, it was rounded upwards. Okay? Rounded positively so that may excess dito. But if we are going to carry over the right or the exact decimal places here, magko-close yan sa 0. Okay? So, pag inad mo yan, we have, all in all, we have 21,242.5. Ito yung nabayaran. Nabayaran mo ng utang, nabayaran mo rin yung interest. So, if we are going to add all of this, and then, pag addin mo to, this one, plus yung initial na utang, ayan, 21,242.5. 41.